Hello, welcome to 3 Wide. This week, the Verizon IndyCar Series was at Detroit for the Duels in Detroit. A little different 3 Wide this week as I missed the first half of the first race, and I missed the entire second race because I was at Pocono Raceway this week for NASCAR. So this week I'm just going to talk about the two winners, the one big story coming out of Detroit with a certain car that was supposed to lead the field to green, and then we'll look ahead to tomorrow night's race in Texas. So in race 1, it was Scott Dixon getting the win, his first of the season and his first with PNC Bank on board. This was Scott Dixon's 42nd career victory, tying him with Michael Andretti for third all-time on the IndyCar wins list. This race, as every Detroit race seems to be, is about pit strategy, whether you do 3 stops or 2 stops, considering it's one of the toughest tracks to pass on. Scott Dixon played the strategy perfect and got the win. Some big things that came out of race 1 was Santino Ferrucci in his first race going flying after getting dumped by Charlie Kimball, and Marco Andretti getting the pole for the first race. Now back to Dixon. After Dixon got the win on Saturday, Sunday he came back with a 4th place finish. This leaves him now second in the championship to Will Power, 5 points behind. With Dixon getting his 42nd career win, I almost guarantee that he'll get win 43 and be third all time on the IndyCar list all by himself and won't be tied with Michael Andretti. Now on to the race 2 winner. And in race 2, it was the man who finished second in race 1, Ryan Hunter-Reay, getting the win. After a disappointing qualifying effort where he started in 10th, he got all the way up to second and then had a duel with his teammate Alexander Rossi, making him do a lot of mistakes, which ended up with Rossi blowing a tire and Hunter-Reay getting by him for the win in Detroit for the second race. Now we'll see if Hunter-Reay can ride this wave of momentum throughout the season, as now in the championship standings he sits 4th, 31 points behind Power, 20 behind his teammate Rossi. Now this leads me to the big story that came out of Detroit, the pace car problem. As the cars were let out by the pace car, all of a sudden on the hump coming out of turn 3, the pace car went around and crashed in front of all the field. Only Alexander Rossi went through the debris to get back to pit road, while the others were stopped on the track with their cars turned off. The driver of the pace car was Mark Rust, the General Motors head of global production development. Both people in the pace car were unharmed by the accident. Now I feel like this could partially be a good/a bad thing for Chevy, as it's a good thing that no one was harmed so you can promote the safety of the car, but the bad thing is the car was maybe going 60 miles an hour at the fastest over that hump, and it lost control and smashed into the wall. But if I'm sponsoring one of the races later in the year on that pace car, I think it could be a good thing going on for IndyCar, as I could see the TV companies just having a camera fixed right on that pace car to see if anything crazy will happen. So this could potentially help the sponsors get a little bit better exposure, as the camera will probably be locked on that car for 2+ minutes as it leads the field to the green. But I don't believe we'll see any more pace car shenanigans this year for the IndyCar series, as I think they'll stick with Oriol Servia driving the car with a potential celebrity guest or a higher up guest just being a passenger in the car instead of letting them drive after this. So now we'll go on to the 3 things to look forward to this weekend at Texas for the DXC Technology 600. Number 1. Chevy keeps up its Indy Oval dominance. When we take a look back to the Indy 500 qualifying, Chevy had 7 of the Fast 9. So now going into Texas, we'll see if Chevy can keep up its overall speed in qualifying and parlays into something special in the race. As of right now, at 1:39 Eastern in practice, the top 3 are Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, and Alexander Rossi for practice. So as of right now, it looks like Honda is maybe caught up a little bit to Chevy, but this practice is in the heat of the day and the race will be at nighttime. Number 2, minor wing change. IndyCar made a slight change to this week's package with changing the rear wing angle from -6 to -3 for the thinner air with the high temperatures in Texas. This adds about 100 pounds of rear downforce to the cars. So now we'll see if this plays a factor into what kind of racing we'll get. Number 3, spread out or a pack. Throughout the recent history of the Verizon IndyCar Series at Texas, we've had many different kinds of races here at Texas. Just last year we had a pack race which ended with a lot of cars crashing, only a few finishing on the lead lap, and also a tire problem. And if we look back to 2015, it was a single file race where they were all spread out throughout the field. With the changes to the car, I feel like this weekend's race is going to be a spread out race, or maybe a slingshot move is going to be the way to pass this weekend at Texas. Another thing that I think could play a factor is if there's going to be more than one groove at this track. With the new repave to Texas with turn 1 being different than turn 3, it seems that the track has just been a single groove and no one will move up. Joseph Newgarden tried a crazy move last year, but that did not go to fruition where he ended up in the wall. So now, with that being said, I think this single file race is going to be a little weird, with slingshot moves maybe going into turns 1 and 3, getting our passes for the lead, but I think there's also a strong possibility that the leader could just get out in front and we'll never see him again. And just a last-minute practice report, with about 10 minutes left, the top 3 right now are Sebastian Bourdais, Gabby Chavez, and Tony Kanaan. I feel like Chavez is a real big dark horse to win this weekend, but I could see Tony Kanaan getting his win and putting AJ Foyt back in victory lane. So that'll do it this weekend for 3 Wide. Come back next week for my review of the Texas race, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.